Welcome to the virtual towers of Binary Arcadia, where the games go on long into the night. Thank you for joining us for another episode in our series, The Top 10 Games of All Time. If you haven't already, don't forget to go back and check out the proper introduction video for more information. And I hope you enjoy this next game as much as I did. Now here's a bit of a Marmite game, and by that I mean it's often quite divisive on the palate. Shenmue was released by Sega AM2 in 2000 on the Dreamcast. It received a modest 89% on game rankings. Fun fact, Shenmue was originally set to be a Virtua Fighter RPG starring Akira Yuki. However, it eventually emerged as a unique IP. Impact. While some folks criticise the game for being overly realistic to the point of tedium, it is also often credited as being one of the greatest games of all time. You certainly can't take away its contributions to the industry in terms of influence and innovation. The game's attention to detail was revolutionary at the time in terms of the way the quasi-open world was furnished. Drawers could often be searched, closets opened, appliances interacted with, and collectibles taken. You could even hold certain objects and rotate them in Ryo's hand to admire the texture work and geometry. In many cases, this interactive freedom was little more than a novelty, and really, more should have been done with it. The basement puzzle near the end of the game is testimony to that. But apart from that, Shenmue introduced a series of open world mechanics that have become industry standards, like day and night cycles, weather systems with NPCs that had scheduled routines. Not to mention the QuickTime event, which has been used in modern blockbusters like Resident Evil and God of War. At the time, it was a tour de force of new ideas and technology, which helped to push the industry forward as a whole. Personal experience. I really do understand the criticism the game gets in terms of its banality. It can become somewhat of a laborious experience, a Groundhog Day of sorts, playing over and over again. But eventually, I did adjust to the pace of the game, and it actually helped me to connect with the world of Shenmue on a different level than I might normally. Familiarities creep in, personal routines and habits develop. I became part of the virtual world before me. It was both comforting and charming after a while, and I still remember when Christmas came around in the in-game world. Snow was falling, decorations went up, and a costumed Santa would roam the streets. I'm sure there was even some Christmas jingles about the place. It may seem like a tiny gimmick in today's world of modern gaming extravagances, but at that time, in that moment, feeling at one with the game, it was quite magical. And those moments are rare in video games, and I relish every single one. Longevity. This is an iffy one. I've recently replayed the remastered version of Shenmue 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 4. And whilst they do a decent job of presenting the experience, the game is clearly aged. Today's open worlds are much more complex and sophisticated. Shenmue, in comparison, feels like the first iteration of an archaic Westworld, an antique world filled with clockwork robots that just don't convince anymore. And because of that, the banality inherent in the game is foregrounded, becoming a bigger obstacle in terms of overall enjoyment. A game best relived down memory lane, I'm afraid. So I'm going to score Shenmue with an impact of 5, a personal experience of 4, and a longevity of 1. So that's a 10 out of 15 for Shenmue. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then please give us a like, and if you didn't, a dislike. Feedback's always good. And if you want to see more from us, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. And I think that's about it. Another one for the archives. Stamped and completed.